Good morning. My name is Kevin Peters. I'm the Leon County Emergency Management Director. Uh, Last night, Hurricane Hermine made landfall around 1:30 a.m. Near St. Marks, Florida. We had with sustained wind speeds of around 55 miles per hour, with wind gusts near 65 miles per hour overnight last night. We had rainfall of 4 to 5 inches throughout the county, and we had a very busy early morning responding to the debris that was caused from the high winds. We now transition our response to our disaster recovery phase, which begins with the assessment of the damages received last night. To tell more about the activities that we went through last night, I bring up now Sheriff Mike Wood.
Thank you very much. As you heard Director Peters say, we had a very busy night. So the first thing I want to do is acknowledge all of our first responders. We had EMS, firefighters, police officers, and deputy sheriffs activated throughout the night. Since yesterday, we've received 2,000 calls here at the Consolidated Dispatch Agency. Half of those were 911 calls. We did have some limited response times on non-emergency calls, but we were able to respond to all priority one calls. Once again, as Director Peters says, we're sort of in our assessment/recovery mode. Our aviation unit is in the air as we speak, trying to do assessments on transmission lines related to electricity and things of that nature. And we'll just continue to assess what our damages are as the weather subsides and the sun is up. Just moving forward from a public safety perspective, I would just please ask all the media outlets to just push forward the message. Please stay home and stay off the roads until we have the opportunity to create a safe environment for our community to move about. With that said, I'd like to introduce Mayor Andrew Gillum, our mayor here in Tallahassee.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. And good morning to those of you here in the room and also to our citizens listening and tuning in through the various outlets that are available to them. I want to quickly acknowledge that Representative Alan Williams is here, part of his district obviously impacted by the events of yesterday and today. Also want to acknowledge Governor Rick Scott, who I spoke with twice this morning, who has been generous in his offering of support, most specifically in connecting our electric utility system to the private electric utilities throughout the state, as they all have offered assistance and mutual aid. I want to just acknowledge for a moment that our community has experienced something pretty significant. While Florida has not seen a hurricane in about 11 years, our community, Tallahassee and the surrounding area, has not experienced a storm of this nature, a hurricane, in some 30 years. The good news that we have to report is that there were no fatalities, none reported up to this point through last night's and today's storm. The bad news is that our electric utility system took a pretty substantial hit. In fact, in the city's history, this may have been the most significant hit to our electric utility system, with over 80% of our system having been affected by last night's storm. What that means for our citizens is that our crews are obviously going to work diligently to connect our citizens and obviously clear the path to make it safe. But we do want to caution them that this is not an everyday storm. And that typically our electric utility system can be pretty quick and efficient in getting our system up and going. We want to warn that this may take a few days for various members of our community. I want to underscore that this will not be the sort of rapid response that you would normally see. The response will be rapid. However, the impact may take a few days before it reaches our customers. So we encourage people to be patient. We've got significant assets that have been deployed both through our electric utility system, all of our participating partners, as well as through our mutual aid agreements. The storm impacted neighborhoods and homes all across our community, including fallen trees, debris on street and thoroughfares, and the loss of electric power to over 100,000 customers, 70,000 of which are City of Tallahassee electric utility customers, and the remaining being those of Talquin. The city and county staff have been working since earlier this week to make provision and preparation for the impact of this storm, invoking, as I said before, mutual aid agreements that are bringing resources from outside of this community to help us get up and going again. I want to say I'm especially proud and appreciative of our first responders, our utility workers, our linemen, our call takers. I stayed overnight here with them and got to hear firsthand some of the calls as they came in. Our call takers handled those calls with a significant degree of professionalism, efficiency, calming individual callers as they called in. Obviously, many folks in our community scared, and many others impacted by much of the damage. We've had over a dozen road crews that have been dispatched to remove debris from all arterial roads and emergency routes since earlier this morning. Our priority is obviously to clear the path to our hospitals, our clinics, and other really vital areas in our community. I know this can be a frustrating time, particularly for those folks who are without electric power. Again, we want to call on you to be patient. Over 650 members of our staff are on the ground addressing these most urgent needs. Many of these men and women will work 16-hour days. I repeat, they'll work 16-hour days until these issues are addressed. In short, we're working extremely hard to address what has been a substantial weather event for our community. And we again call on our citizens to be patient as our utility workers, our first responders, our debris removal crews get out there to make this community as safe as possible. I will echo the comments of our sheriff. If you have no reason to be out, we encourage you to stay home, stay off the roads. There are many roads that are still not cleared. And having you on these roads makes it more difficult for our staff to do what it is that they need to do. We ask that you also stay connected to us by connecting to the city website, the county website, TalGov, Digitally, are all resources that you can connect to, and obviously your local news outlets. And with that, I want to yield to the chairman of the County Commission, Chairman Bill Proctor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. To the citizens of our community, I can say this morning that there's a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be grateful for. Hermine, this hurricane, came as a thief in the night, but as we make assessment this morning, it has stolen very little. It has stolen no lives, there's been no injuries, and though it came through our community, our resilience, our trust and faith, we have stood steady through the night. The collaboration of our leadership here, our first responders, the leadership of our community, we note this morning that you really never know what you're working with until it's time for the rubber to meet the road. And last night, the rubber met the road, and not since Hurricane Kate have we been challenged to see what kind of community and what kind of response and what kind of people we are. And through this adversity, we have found that the quality and the quantity of people who are serving in a time such as this, that we're capable, we're able, and God steadfastly has kept us through the night. There have been several trees that have fallen, not several, but multiple trees, and some almost 50 trees have been cleared. There are many more to go. You understand that when trees fall, oftentimes electric lines come down. And when electric lines are on the ground, that makes for a dangerous situation. So we're asking that if you can stay in and keep your children in, that they're not out messing. This is not a little piece of string jumping around on the ground. This is hot electricity. This is still a very serious time because only this morning with daylight can an assessment of what the damage has occurred last evening can be adequately assessed. We're working hard. We're going to move forward. I want to also note that there were almost 150 people who sought shelter across our community, and there were some who had medical needs, but we've been able to respond to. There were more than 50,000 sandbags from different locations of which people responded and came out to receive. But it has been the professionalism and the compassion that we have seen working in harmony, synchronized as a team, that this morning both Mayor Gillum, our administrator, our city manager, and many others are most satisfied with the effort. Nobody ever wants to be put to this kind of test, but I believe Tallahassee and Leon County, if we stay together, if we follow the blueprint that has been laid out in the voices of those who are asking your cooperation, we're going to get through this storm, and we're going to stand taller, and we're going to be more capable when and should this occur again. We thank you very much, and I call forward now Mr. Peters.
Thank you. I'd like to reinforce the message we've sent today. Please, if you do not have to be on the roadways in our community, stay off the roadways. Be careful as you clean up your home and property with tree limbs. We mentioned the hazards also with down power lines. Use extreme caution as you clean up your property. If you have received storm damage, one way you can help us is to report your storm damage to the Emergency Operations Center. Our phone number is 850-606-3700. As always, you can visit our website at leoncountyfl.gov/EI to get the latest information, and it also has a portal to report damage. Other information is also available at talgov.com. As always, if you're experiencing a life-threatening emergency, call 911 for a quick emergency response. With that, thank you, be safe, and be prepared.